Barbara Streisand once asked me, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, "Because there'll come a day where I can't. You know, there'll come a day where I really can't do any of the things that I do now. And I want to make sure that I don't think, if I'd only done that one thing, if I'd only tried that one thing, you know, if I only tried writing that one thing or doing that one movie or, you know, being on stage one more time." It's really not about desperation, or it's just that I know I won't be able to do it.
Her journey is far from over, but it is the quintessential archetype of many a girl's dreams to overcome adversity, insecurity, and pain, to perpetually revive yourself and rise to the top. But her beginnings heavily contrasted the abundance of adoration she received later in life.
I think that's great. You have a desire to do something, and I never believed in no. And I have to tell you something, I tanked. That woman said something about, you know, if you have a mishap or if you tank, she didn't say tank, but that's what it meant to me, that, you know, you can get back up. I've tanked, I've had huge losses, I've had great successes, I've been so lucky. And, but I do think that the thing about huge losses, it just makes you keep going. And I feel like a bumper car. What I would want for you girls, and what I would want for everyone, and especially women, is that you don't take no for an answer, because no is just some bullshit word that someone made up, you know?
One of America's greatest success stories may never have become reality. At just 19 years old, Georgia Holt found herself married to John Sarkeesian, an Armenian-American truck driver battling drug and gambling addictions. Pregnant and uncertain about the future, she wrestled with the same fears that burden many expectant mothers, even contemplating abortion. May 20th, 1946. Sherilyn Sarkeesian is brought into the world. By the time she had turned 1, her parents had completed their divorce. Now, a single mother at only 20, Georgia struggled to provide for her child. The weight of societal expectations pushed her to place Cher in the care of nuns at a local Catholic orphanage. Though she continued to visit her daughter during the brief weeks she stayed there. Still, the experience left lasting scars, filling Cher with questions about where she truly belonged. By the time she turned 10, Georgia had married and divorced John Southall, the man Cher would come to consider her father. As the only child in the family with dark features, she often felt out of place, further deepening her sense of uncertainty.
I was dyslexic, well, I'm still dyslexic, but it was very difficult for me as a child because I failed, I couldn't read, I still can't see numbers very well. And my mom was like, "It doesn't make any difference, you're smart, you know?" And I said, "Mom, but I can't see numbers." And she said, "It doesn't make any difference. When you grow up, you'll have someone to see numbers for you." So, you know, she was always supporting me as an artist, you know, and said, "You're so talented." Also, we all sang, you know, my uncle played the guitar, my grandfather played the guitar, my mom and I sang. So it wasn't an unusual thing, you know, it wasn't unusual. My mom and I share the same voice, you know, so it wasn't unusual, but there was nothing about me that screamed movie star. or icon or anything. Also, I wanted to tell you this, and it's by way of explaining something about me that you don't know. So my grandmother picked cotton, and my grandmother picked cotton with my mother on the gunny sack. And it was a very rough existence. My mother got a job. My mother had a job where you called in every day to see if you had a job for the next day. Was there a time that was really horribly embarrassing for me. I mean, it's something I'm never gonna forget. And where I lost the soles of my shoes, and so I had to put rubber bands around the soles of my shoes so I could walk to school. So when I say I understand what people are going through, you never forget this. You know, I never will forget the things that I had to go through when I was young, and I want people to have better. I want people to feel good about themselves. I want them to have a good living. I want schools to be decent, and not just for rich kids. I want schools to be decent for everyone. My mom said to me once, my mom was real pissed off at me, and she said, I was complaining, and she said, I was complaining about having no shoes until I saw the man who had no feet. And it was like, Cher, shut up and, count your blessings. So I got a big dose of count your blessings, and you have to do stuff for other people. I gave a big dose to my children. I still have a big dose.
Now living and pursuing an acting career in Los Angeles, Georgia Holt introduced her daughter to the world of show business for the first time, igniting a dream within her. The desire to shine beneath the stage lights.
Diamond bracelet.
Cher found inspiration in the formidable women of Hollywood's golden era, including Marlene Dietrich, Marilyn Monroe, and Katharine Hepburn. However, the absence of dark-haired leading ladies left her feeling inadequate.
When I was young, I just was, all the women that were popular and famous, the models, the actresses, the singers, they were blonde. I was the first woman on Vogue magazine that had dark hair and dark eyes. Because what they did, if you had blonde hair, you could have brown eyes, or vice versa, but you couldn't have both. So it was, there was some stuff going on.
Like many girls who didn't fit the fair-haired beauty standards perpetuated by early television, she struggled with self-doubt. But with her trailblazing days still ahead, Cher began challenging conformity from an early age. She adopted the style and demeanor of her idol, Audrey Hepburn. Enamored by Hepburn's character in Breakfast at Tiffany's, she took to wearing oversized dark sunglasses at school. A rebellious act that ultimately got her expelled when she refused to take them off. It was 1962, and despite her well-known struggles with confidence, Cher was about to take her first real step toward stardom. Her time lingering around LA's recording studios proved serendipitous. When a backup singer failed to show up, Cher was handed a microphone and asked to step in. That single moment, just before Christmas, set in motion the extraordinary journey that would change her life forever. November 1962, on a double date with her boyfriend at the time, 16-year-old Cher found herself sitting across from a 27-year-old record promoter and songwriter. His name was Sonny Bono.
For my own curiosity's sake, where are you from and how did you start?
Well, I was born in Los Angeles, and I started by meeting Sonny.
Well, I was born in Detroit, but I've been out here most of my life, so I consider myself a Los Angelesite. And I have been in the record business much longer than Cher, and then when we got together, we sort of generated each other. She was my inspiration, and it was just something that worked, something that was right, and we pursued the music business, and here we are.
Not long after, when her roommate moved out, Cher accepted Sonny's offer to become his housekeeper. Their bond quickly deepened, and before long, they were inseparable. With Sonny's encouragement, Cher began to regain the confidence to perform, something she had lost throughout her childhood. At the time, Sonny was working for Wall of Sound pioneer Phil Spector. Through this connection, Cher recorded her first single, Ringo, I Love You. However, the song was rejected by radio DJs, who mistakenly believed her deep contralto voice belonged to a man singing a love song to Beatles drummer Ringo Starr. What had once been a disadvantage, her unusually low voice, developed from playing male roles in school productions, now seemed like an obstacle in her budding career. But Cher refused to let it hold her back. Although Sonny envisioned launching Cher as a solo artist, her stage fright remained an issue. That hesitation disappeared the moment she locked eyes with Sonny on stage. Capitalizing on their chemistry, the duo began performing together under the name Caesar and Cleo. However, their early singles failed to gain traction. By 1965, they abandoned the gimmick and rebranded simply as Sonny and Cher. Still searching for a breakthrough, they struggled to make an impact. Following advice from the Rolling Stones, Sonny and Cher took a leap of faith and flew to London in search of a more organic following. Upon arrival, the hippie duo was met with an unexpected media frenzy. Their unconventional style, neither mod nor rocker, was unlike anything London had seen before. Their bold fashion choices, from fur vests to bell-bottoms and striped pants, became a sensation at setting off a trend among young Brits. However, their nonconformist look also sparked controversy, even getting them thrown out of the Hilton Hotel. Seizing the momentum from their newfound publicity, Sonny and Cher released their first album, Look at Us. The record featured their signature hit, I Got You Babe, which soared to #1 in the US, UK, and Canada. The feel-good anthem became the defining song of the early hippie counterculture. Against the backdrop of the British invasion and Motown's dominance, Sonny and Cher carved out their own niche, building a dedicated fan base. At the height of their success, they achieved a milestone only matched by Elvis Presley and the Beatles, having 5 songs in the top 50 simultaneously. By 1967, Sonny and Cher had sold over 40 million records worldwide. Yet, as the 1960s sexual revolution took hold, their monogamous image began to feel out of step with the times, causing their popularity to wane. As music evolved, Sonny resisted change, refusing to adapt to the shifting musical landscape. In an attempt to revive their popularity, Cher and Sonny produced and starred in Good Times. However, their first venture into film was a failure, planting a seed of doubt back in Cher's mind. Determined to move forward, Cher pursued a solo career, much to Sonny's dismay. Cracks in their relationship became more apparent, from his controlling nature over her career to rumors of his infidelity. Despite this, they got engaged and committed to building a family. Cher gave birth in 1969, and the couple married soon after.
There's something, that's the part that's so intriguing. What is it?
I don't know. It just happened. It's just timing and talent, I think. And
Have you ever tried to analyze it yourself?
no, but I haven't. He has, but it's too hard for me to figure out.
Sonny, what do you think?
I think it's a combination of things. I think timing, of course, is very important. And then the fact that we're a married couple has a big bearing on our success, because all our fan mail, kids are very happy that we're married and that we love each other. And I think the kids like this symbol, to see 2 people married that really do enjoy each other and love each other. And they like the music and the way we dress. They like the fact that we wear colorful clothes, and we do too. You know, that's us, and that was really us. And I think it's several elements. Plus Plus, you must have those songs and
I hope you won't take offense at this, but when I see you, I think of something out of King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table as a page. Is that?
No,
did you ever think about that?
No.
That's a nice compliment.
Yeah, that's one of the nicest. I never thought about it. What did Jackie Kennedy said? Something very similar.
Similar. She said he looked very Shakespearean.
That's it, Shakespearean or something out of medieval England.
And I enjoy it.
Just a little behind the times, that's all.
And I enjoy it.
How long do you think that I'm sure you're asked this many times. Do you think this will last? Not your popularity. I'm not talking about you personally. I mean, the mode, the folk song,
Yeah.
That's
I think
what
it'll.
they said about Elvis Presley.
I think it'll last. It'll vary, of course. Everything varies, and it'll go to different styles and different things. We must change our style occasionally. You can't keep going with the same identical sound all the time or the same type of songs all the time. Otherwise, you're not fresh anymore. So if you stay fresh, you should have longevity with it, you know.
Thank you, Sonny and Cher.
Desperate for success, they took a financial gamble, pouring $500,000 into their next film, Chastity, named after their child. Directed by Sonny, the film was an introspective journey about the search for meaning in life. Instead, it sent them into financial ruin, forcing them to find another way to survive. To make ends meet, they crafted a nightclub act aimed at a more mature audience. A heckler's unexpected remark during a performance became a recurring comedic moment, drawing attention from television executives. Soon, they were entertaining audiences across America. CBS commissioned the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour in 1971. The show transformed Cher into a fearless fashion icon, breaking barriers with outfits never before seen on television.
You know, my clothes were shocking. You know, what I wore was really shocking. But I was going to wear what I wanted, you know, and that's what I was going to do, because I didn't want people telling me, you know, if my audience didn't like it, I would know, you know. Audiences will tell you what they think. So I just didn't care. It's like, you're gonna tell me what I can do? I don't think so.
The exposure of her belly button on television was the first of its kind. The fashion barriers broken by Cher paved the way for the stars of today to experience limitless expression.
These girls are pushing the envelope, you know? They're just, hi, what's in you, you know? But at some point, I think that it won't make a difference. Maybe at some point the girls are going a little bit far, but that's because this is now, you know? I was doing it then, and these girls are doing it now. And self-expression is what artists do, you know? Artists are supposed to do art, and people, and you want to do art that impresses people and makes them feel something, and also makes you feel like this is what I was put here to do. We have to do it better, faster. But I mean, I think it's better for women today. I think they're stronger, they demand more, you know. I think we knocked down some walls, but there are there are more walls to be knocked down.
Despite their on-screen chemistry, their marriage was falling apart. Rumors of Sonny's unfaithfulness surfaced in the public eye, and when Cher caught him cheating, she found the strength to break away. Though separated in private, they continued filming their show, with Cher's deadpan mockery of Sonny taking on a new, bittersweet meaning.
Yeah, there you are. Okay?
All right, now, would you take something off my dress?
Sure. What?
Your hand.
Sure. I just feel, you know what?
What?
Once in a while, there's nights when you just feel something, you know? And tonight is one of those nights when I feel there's something special between us tonight.
Yes, there is, and he's standing backstage.
Determined to stand on her own, Cher launched her solo career with Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves. The striking music video and sultry wardrobe choices helped her shed the family-friendly image she had cultivated alongside Sonny. The song's powerful themes, racism, prostitution, and teenage pregnancy, marked a turning point in her artistry. Her reinvention continued with Half-Breed, where she embraced her Cherokee heritage, appearing atop a horse in the music video. The song narrated the struggles of a biracial girl facing discrimination and identity struggles, resonating with audiences. It became Cher's second solo #1 hit in the US, proving to the world and to herself that she could succeed without Sonny. In 1974, as she prepared to end her marriage, Cher made a shocking discovery. Cher Enterprises, the company Sonny had established, was 95% owned by him and 5% by their lawyer, leaving her with virtually nothing. After years of masking her pain, Cher filed for divorce and accused Sonny of involuntary servitude. The reign of television's beloved power couple had come to an end. As the decade neared its close, Cher reassessed her musical direction. The decision led to her first top 10 hit in 5 years. However, always one to defy expectations, Cher soon shifted gears again, stepping away from solo stardom to front the rock band Black Rose.
And then there was Cher, who showed up with her kids, Chastity and Elijah. Are you going to be touring with Black Rose? Are you all going to...
We're going to make an album in January. We'll be touring in the spring and the summer.
Have you been surprised a lot of people's reaction about you going rock and roll again? People seem very resistant to the idea.
Well, people are always resistant to a new idea. You know, I've talked to a lot of people, and half of them think it's a good idea and half of them don't. So, you know, it's something that I want to do so much, you know. So if people eventually like it, then they will, and if they don't, they won't.
Do you think you and Les Dudek will get married?
No.
She fought through relentless media scrutiny surrounding her personal life while rekindling her childhood dream of acting.
I care about women's rights, and we have had to fight for everything we've gotten.
In the early 1980s, Hollywood remained a male-dominated industry with deeply ingrained sexism and rigid expectations for women.
We have had to take it and fight for it, and it's not fair, you know? And if you are, I don't know what you can say on your program, but if you do the same thing that a man would do, you're a bitch. You know, if you would ask for the same things on a set that a man asks, you know, if you're quiet and you're sweet, then, you know, then people love you. And I'm not hard to get along with at all. But if you just ask for something, it's like, who do you think you are? So women have had to fight. I mean, we've had to fight for a lot. And I love men, you know, I think men are the greatest. But still, they haven't had to go through what we've had to go through and are still going through. And so I think maybe fighting is not the right word, but it's fighting in a different way, you know? We have to be twice as good. We have to work twice as hard. I like a lot of the things that are happening now where men aren't, you know, allowed to come in and pinch you on the fanny, you know, and then go, good girl, You know, that shit's not happening anymore.
Undeterred, Cher put her music career on hold to focus on film.
I'm really happy with what I'm doing. And if I got an award or a nomination, it would make it better. And if I don't, it's okay.
Don't you look stunning, my dear? So now you have won for Moonstruck, which is a terrific role. And how do you feel?
I feel real fabulous. I feel really great.
You say that foreigners like you. Yeah, I'm a foreigner. I do like you. What do you think?
I don't know. So far, the only awards I've ever gotten, this is my third Golden Globe, and I won Cannes Film Festival. And those are the only awards I've ever gotten or been nominated for. So, I mean, that's all that came to my mind.
I guess we know better, don't we?
Right. I guess you guys are pretty smart.
Well, of course, I think this is going to be your year for the Academy, too. So, you know, we'll be crossing our fingers for that.
I hope so. I hope from your mouth to God's ears.
Congratulations, Cher. Good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
What did you mean by your statement on stage before, saying that your fans had to take a lot of crap?
I would have said shit, but you know, I couldn't do that.
Okay, what do you mean?
Because I think to be a fan of mine for a long time is a very difficult thing.
Her perseverance paid off. She followed her Golden Globe win with an Academy Award, solidifying her status as both a music and film icon.
You talked about your mom, you thanked all these people, you thanked more back here. Can you tell me, in the most personal terms, what this win has meant to you?
Oh, Ginny, I don't know. It's been really a difficult struggle to get here. I mean, really a difficult struggle. And now it seems so, I mean, it seemed worthwhile before, but it was like at the beginning of this road, every person in that audience was a person who wouldn't have given, you know, much hope. I mean, if I would have been, you know, a patient on the sick list, I probably would have died. So it was really, I just felt really, really good about being able to achieve something that seemed so impossible.
We've read lots of things about what it's like to work with you. Some people say that you're really tough, that you're really difficult, and other people have said, no, she's really a sweetheart. So are you a sweetheart or are you difficult?
Yes.
So what's next?
I just like to continue to do really good work. You know, I'd like to do movies that are helpful and movies that inspire people. I like playing regular people so that other people don't feel like they're alone in the world having hardships that can't be overcome.
Yet, even at the peak of her success, the weight of career pressures and societal expectations loomed over her.
Well, all right. Children, a career, the households, both households, construction work in New York, and you know what a delight that can be. A video, an album, and then the movies kind of came out on top of each other, so all of it has happened like at one time. So you're kind of like on the phone yelling at the guy at the construction company, and then like last night I thought it was going to be my first good night's sleep, and in the middle of the night, like I wasn't asleep yet, but it was about 2:30. Elijah came downstairs and he said, "Mom, I don't feel good. I don't feel good." And he had 102.5 temperature, so I stayed with him and put cold compress, you know, did all that mother stuff, you know. And he fell asleep at about 4:30, and then I got up at 9 o'clock so I could get ready to do this. And I feel like, what was the goddess? It's got all those hands. It's like I feel like I'm juggling everything in the air at one time and not doing a good job of any of it.
In 1989, fresh off the success of Moonstruck, Cher returned to music with her 19th solo album, Heart of Stone. The provocative, fearless star made waves yet again with the music video for If I Could Turn Back Time. Shot aboard the USS Missouri, the Navy had approved the production, believing it would appeal to younger audiences. Secretary of the Navy even considered dismissing the ship's captain over the unexpected controversy. The song marked yet another triumphant comeback for Cher, though the provocative imagery led some networks to ban the video. Despite the backlash, her undeniable star power prevailed. She went on to win the People's Choice Award that same year.
I'm really excited about it. You know, I mean, I haven't won that many awards in my life, so this is to go from not being nominated to winning is a pretty exciting thing, you know?
What is it about you? People just love you no matter what.
I'm just so cool. I don't know. I think people know that I'm trying. You know, I think people know that I'm always working on it. And I don't, you know, and I have a modicum of talent, you know. I survive. I think that's what people like. It's what I like about people is that they survive. You know, I watched Gregory Peck and Olivia de Havilland walk out there. I would stand just for the fact they've been able to stay alive in this business for as long as they have. It's weird. I would never look to play a woman like myself, I don't think. I would look to play the women that you'll never hear of, the women that you read about in the smallest little one-page story in People magazine, or you see trying to just make life as easy as possible, but being really dealt something difficult. And I have different views about, I guess the older I get, the more my views change about what's important to do in a film.
Cher, what other things are there left for you to accomplish? You have been so successful in music.
I'm going to become a marine biologist.
Oh, marvelous.
I was going to say a vaccine you could come up with. Superconductors have already been figured out. I don't know.
Right, you know how good I am with that kind of stuff.
Are you driven for success? Is that so important for you?
Well, let's say this. I might be driven for expression because I have certainly not been successful at everything that I've attempted. I mean, I've been successful in every field that I've attempted, but I haven't been successful in each field at all times. You know, not that you can hope for that, but I mean, I like being able to express myself, and it's a necessity for me somehow. You know,
You also like shopping.
That's true. I have to pay
We're
my
working
bills.
girls. Everybody
Right,
has
you
to
know.
work.
So right, there's the emotion, the artistry, and then there's the
And then there's the money.
And then there's the money.
What are you doing now as far as just on your own or for...
I'm not doing anything right now. I just left GLAAD, and I'm taking some time off and gonna reinvent myself.
In 1995, Chaz Bono, born Chastity, courageously came out as gay and later revealed his transgender identity.
It was a little bit difficult, but not as difficult as finding out that Chaz was gay. Because I mean, and I am friends with like 1 billion gay people, but until you go through it with your child, and then realize you haven't lost your child, that's a kind of strange thing to feel like the child that you know is a new child that you have to get to know, you know? And so that was, I started to really enjoy that process. But you have to take some little baby steps before you can go, yes, I feel totally comfortable with this.
In 2009, he began the process of physically transitioning. His journey was documented in Becoming Chaz, a candid 2011 Wow presents documentary that followed his gender reassignment. Cher initially struggled with the transformation, in part due to concerns over the medical procedures and treatments her child would have to undergo to feel truly at home in his own body.
Here we go.
I'm doing this because I want to try to help people. You know, I want to put a face on an issue that people don't understand. That's why I did this publicly.
There's public, private, and there's just public.
I would think your mom would accept it real well.
Yeah, it's hard for moms.
I'm afraid she's not going to be healthy. I'm afraid it's too much for her. And I worry about the drugs that she has to take in order to keep this. I don't know that much about it, but I want to make sure that whatever it is not going to hurt her. I know that Chaz was like, this is not me. I don't want to live this way. So I tell people who are going through it, just imagine that you wake up tomorrow and you're not the sex that you went to bed last night, and what would you do? Where would you go? Who would you, what could you possibly do to soothe yourself? So yes, I understand.
In 1998, tragedy struck when Sonny Bono, the man who had once given Cher the confidence to take the stage, died in a skiing accident. During his funeral, broadcast on CNN, Cher's heartfelt eulogy revealed the deep admiration she still held for him. Despite the challenges they had faced, she acknowledged that without Sonny, there would be no Cher.
When I was young, there was this section in the Reader's Digest, and it was called The Most Unforgettable Character I've Ever Met. And for me, that person is Sonny Bono. And no matter how long I live or who I meet in my life, that person will always be Sonny for me. Thank you.
That same month, amid the sorrow, she was honored for her contributions to entertainment with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, placed alongside Sonny's.
Well, as you can tell, I'm having a little trouble today. Yesterday, about 2 o'clock, that 24-hour flu came around, and I think I would have probably canceled and missed my first ceremony if it hadn't been Cher, because I have to tell you how long I've been waiting, since 1983. And that'll give you an idea how busy she is. We haven't been able to work out that schedule. And I just want to tell you it's a delight today to introduce a lady who personifies the spirit, the glamour, the everything that goes with Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, Cher.
Thank you. Thank you. The strange thing about my birthday is that that's when our special is going to be shown. You know, I think that Sonny and Cher means a lot of things to a lot of people. It means something different to everyone. And with Sonny's death, it reminded me how much of an impact Sonny and Cher has had on me through my whole life, since the first time I ever met him when I was 16, even until today, and even till the rest of my days, you know? And the special that we did, the special that I did for him, pretty much tells everything that I feel about him from the beginning till now. And I just can't think of a better thing than to have this star start the whole thing off. And so I'm so thankful that we've got it. And I'm also thankful that we've gotten it together, you know, that it does say Sonny and Cher on it, and not just my name or his name. So that's all I have to say, and I just thank you so much for coming. I failed miserably. I was bankrupt about a gazillion times. I was like, she's over, forget her career, you know, she's I mean, so many things that I went through, and I kept seeing myself as a bumper car. Do you know what a bumper car is? Yeah. Okay. So as a bumper car, and I kept seeing myself like I'd hit a wall, and I'd go, okay, and I would back up, and I would go in another direction. I would do something else. But I was always myself. I just had to find another way to expose who I was. And that's why people go, oh my God, she just reinvents herself. That's not exactly true. What I would do is just do something different.
Seeking a fresh sound for her 22nd album, Cher embraced new technology, incorporating auto-tune in a groundbreaking way to create Believe.
I don't think anybody could have anticipated the reaction. I mean, it was crazy, you know? And I would come out on stage every night going, what are these people doing here, you know? And we'd be playing a place for the 5th time.
Originally used to mask off-key vocals, Cher's artistic use of autotune was the first known commercial use. The dance pop track that defiantly empowers oneself to overcome heartbreak and survive a breakup was particularly successful in Europe and launched Cher to new heights.
If you have the chance, you have to go for it. I got you to hold my hand. I got you to understand. I got you to walk with me.
Throughout the early 2000s, Cher dominated the stage with a series of Las Vegas residencies. In 2003, she embarked on her farewell tour, which went on to become the most successful tour ever by a female artist at the time. In 2018, the Cher Show premiered on Broadway, bringing the legendary singer's life and career to the stage in a dazzling jukebox musical. The production featured 3 actresses portraying Cher at different stages of her life, highlighting her journey from a young dreamer to a global superstar.
The beauty of the 3 of us is it's not linear, so we kind of step in for each other when someone needs to be a little braver or when someone needs a bit of encouragement.
We just go through, all the girls have a certain part, but they do go in and out of each other because they talk to each other like, you know, don't sweat the small stuff, or this is going to be okay, or...
We call it therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
With a soundtrack of her greatest hits, stunning costumes, and a narrative celebrating her resilience and reinvention, the show earned critical acclaim and won a Tony Award for Best Actress in a musical. Beyond the dazzling lights of Vegas, Cher turned her focus to pressing humanitarian causes.
Well, I have a school in Kenya, Shikimana, and I did that kind of by accident as well. I wasn't planning to build a school in Africa, but I was in bed and I was watching this couple. They were from Scotland and they'd come over for their holiday and they ran into these kids and they were trying to go to school in these shacks. And I just thought, well, this is not a good idea. This is terrible. And I called this Englishman, this old Englishman who'd built, you know, structures there, and we built a beautiful school. So it's just, I have this belief, what comes to you belongs to you. So if something happens to you and you are engaged in it, then it's your duty to do something about it. You shouldn't say anything against the commander-in-chief, but as far as I can tell, he just thinks we're going to be in war. This terrorist war is going to go on forever, so it kind of means you can never say anything bad about the government again.
Having endured the Bush presidency, an era she claimed had nearly broken her, she became an outspoken critic of Republican policies, using her platform to advocate for change.
We're really suffering because we had no help. We had no leadership. We had nothing. You know, we had the will of the American people to just keep going, you know, without help, without money. You know, there are people in America now that they don't even have food. They're losing their apartments or their houses because the government's given them no money to live on. So, I mean, it's really, you know, if your president doesn't care if you live or die, that's a pretty hard pill to swallow, because you're just sitting there going, why isn't someone helping me? Like, I can help people, and there's lots of people like me who can help people, and so that's what you have to do. What I'm saying to women is get your friends and vote, because if you don't vote, you will not recognize this country, and you will lose everything that you just now take for granted, every right that you have. And I'm not being dramatic. Well, maybe I am, but I mean it, okay? I'm trying to impress this upon you because you've been through a time, you live in a time where you have freedom, you know? I remember a time when women didn't have freedom, and I don't want to see this happen to you. I don't want to see this happen to all you young women who have so many possibilities. You know, when I was young, my mother worked, but you didn't get a chance to have a career. Very few people had a chance to get a career. So I don't want to see this happen to you. I want you to have everything and more. And this man will take everything. I have never seen anything like it. I have never seen anything like it. this is what he's done. He made people that just disagree enemies, you know? And it's hard to, it's like, I couldn't be friends with someone who voted for him or believed in him. I just couldn't. If I had a husband, I'd leave him, you know? And I mean it, you know? That's my feelings for him are so strong that, boy, it's rough. I have no goodwill for him at all.
I'm 70 years old. I've lived through 12 presidents. And never once did I dream that there would be one through arrogance and ignorance who could change our world, who could change the face of our world. And so I know that, you know, when I was young, Vietnam was happening, and nothing happened to stop it until we got into the streets. And I know you can stop this. I know you can stop this, because the power of the people is bigger than those assholes that are there in Washington.
I mean, I have to tell you something. It's insane.
I try not to have a potty mouth, but it's just me, okay?
While we were busy dancing in the streets about Obama, I mean, I remember I was at that inauguration, and we were strangers dancing all around Washington, you know, and just delighted, you know, just delighted, like giddy. It was crazy, you know, and it was one of the best times I've ever had, where everyone was mingling, and we were all like the best buds. We didn't know each other, but it was heaven. I didn't realize that there were another group of people that felt the same way about Barack Obama as I feel about Donald Trump. They weren't happy. They weren't joyous. You know, they didn't think it was the best thing that ever had happened. You just didn't know it. But the truth is, I knew something. When I was stumping for Hillary, who I love, and who's really funny and a girly girl, so you would never know that, but I do. So we had to do, I don't know which state we were in, but we were between two big cities, so we decided to stay in the middle and just go and come back. So I was watching TV. It was a, you know, local station, and it was a big field, and on one side were all these pickup trucks. They were parked backwards so that you could see the tailgate. Every one of them had a Confederate flag. Then there were these men in camouflage shooting at these wooden posts about 5.5 feet high. And all these men in camouflage with, you know, AK-47s. So the local journalist just walked up and said, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" And they said, "We're preparing in case Hillary wins." And I will never something worse was coming. People are doing things that I never thought they would do. I mean, we're as close, like I always used to say, this is a bloodless civil war. But I think we're as close to civil war as we will ever come, because he has turned our country upside down. There are people who believe the most insane things. So how are we going to change them? How are we going to come together? And I'm not, you know, I'm not a, oh, everything's going to turn out okay kind of girl. But I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know what Trump's going to do, and you never know what he's going to do, and nothing is beneath him. But I do know Joe, and I don't know how, like, what Trump is going to actually do. What heinous thing will he do next? And I said to anyone who'd listen, if Trump can't be in the White House, he's going to burn it down before he goes.
The thing that will help us, that will get us through this, is anger, because otherwise we'll be in sadness and depression.
Where am
night with her when we lost. And I gave up and I came upstairs and I took a shower and I took my makeup off, and then someone said, there are thousands of people marching down the street. So I went down with none of my fabulous Cherness and I got caught up, and it took me out of my depression. It took me out of my sadness, and I thought, look, these people have come now. It's happening now. We can change this now.
It's insane. You know, I've lived through like 14 presidents, and I never thought that there would be a president that wouldn't care, that doesn't even like Americans, you know? He goes to his people and tries to disrupt and destroy, you know. I mean, we needed to go in a good we needed to make a curve in a better direction, you know? We needed to change and have a bond between people that we haven't had a bond with, you know? And instead of separating us, we needed to be brought together more. And we needed to make things that were wrong right. That he could just ruin our country in 4 years is astounding. You know, it's just astounding that some man can come in with no knowledge, no character, he's not an American. He has no use for America. You know, he just doesn't care. I was so thrilled when you guys had that baby Trump flying up. I mean, we were hysterical because we wanted other people throughout the world to hate him as much as we do.
When you and I spoke last year sometime, I said, is there anything you really would like to do that you haven't done? You never mentioned Oscar, but you said, I want to be president so I can make things right.
Right, well, first we have the Oscar and then we go for president. I know Joe, I've known Joe since 2006, and I know what kind of a man he is. He's smart, he's strong, little temper, but you know, he's a great man who's a smart man who's got all this experience. Now, Trump is like, it's like if I can't be in the White House, I'm gonna burn it down, you know? So what he's trying to do is, you know, symbolically burn the house down so that Joe can't get things done. So look, I don't care about him at all.
And we have all the time in the world, right? Is there anything better than a Trump rally? What about a sneaky Joe Biden rally?
2020, Islamabad, Pakistan. During the COVID-19 pandemic, her compassion extended far beyond American borders. She took up the cause of Kavan, a neglected elephant known as the world's loneliest elephant, helping to secure his rescue and relocation. This act of kindness was yet another testament to Cher's lifelong defiance of expectations, an artist who refused to be confined, a woman who championed independence, and a trailblazer who silenced every doubter with each reinvention.
Kids on my Twitter feed started sending me this thing saying "Free Kavan," and there was a picture. And I first tried to ignore it, you know, and I thought, you know, they'll just stop if I don't, you know, because how am I going to go to Pakistan and free an elephant? So I had met this man in Qatar, and he had told me that he had helped free into another part of Africa, into a sanctuary, 300 elephants. So I called him like a year later and said, hi, you probably won't remember me, but you will. But I need to try and move an elephant from Pakistan to a sanctuary. And he said, great, I'll go. He left like 3 days later. He went to Pakistan, went to the zoo, went to Islamabad, went to the zoo, said, put a covering over that shed, take off his shackles, put water in that little pool and get him some toys. And they did all of it. And then came the work. We worked for years to try to do it. And we went through different administrations. And when Khan said that it was a good idea, that helped us unbelievably. We were in the Supreme Court for a while. Well, when I first saw him, you know, it was difficult because when elephants are traumatized, to help them feel better and bring endorphins, they just go like this, and their body is rocking like this and their head is going like that, and so it was hard to see him that way. But Dr. Amir got really friendly with him, and even though he kept doing it, Dr. Amir could get close to him. He was bathing him and singing a really bad version of I Did It My Way. And so they became very close. I mean, we're Free the Wild, and so we did the heavy lifting, you know, for to go to the Supreme Court, to, you know, petition everyone, and then we called, we are called Free the Wild. Then we called in Four Paws because they have doctors, and they, you know, they're a huge organization, and so Free the Wild and Four Paws brought him out and got him on a transport. He lost, like, I don't know, half a ton, some unbelievable thing, so we could get him on a smaller transport plane. And he had to stay in a little, not a little cage, but a cage for his own welfare, so he didn't rock out, and they gave him a little bit of, you know, sedative. Not that he was still, you know, completely coherent, and they were feeding him and talking to him. And then he landed in Cambodia, and we had already landed, so, you know, we met him, and then that was amazing, you know. And then we had to go on a flatbed truck all the way to the sanctuary, which took us 5 hours. I love animals, but, you know, I love animals, but I love people. You have to spread it all around.
Cher remains one of the most influential and enduring figures in modern entertainment. Her impact on women in the industry and the evolution of contemporary music is immeasurable. Spanning rock, pop, folk, punk, disco, new wave, and even hip-hop, she has continuously reshaped her sound, refusing to be boxed into any one genre. A symbol of resilience for those who defy societal norms, Cher has left an indelible mark on both music and film. Her career, spanning 6 decades, is a testament to her unwavering determination. Rising above every obstacle, she has cemented her status as one of America's most iconic and inspirational performers. Unlike in her youth, today's dark-haired girls have a role model who proves that breaking barriers is possible.